Hello, and welcome to the North West Cavalryman Show, the podcast where your host, Rick Skolrud, discusses politics and news from Canada, the United States, and around the world, from a conservative perspective. Warning: professionally offended people and liberal crybabies may be triggered. Viewer discretion is advised. While we put the finishing touches on this podcast, you are invited to visit the show notes. There are links to all of Rick's social media, including his website where you can sign up to take the Canadian Firearms Safety Course, which is a prerequisite for obtaining your Canadian Firearms License, also known as a PAL. Rick teaches these courses in Maple Bay just east of Duncan on Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Now here's your host, Rick Skolrud.
Okay. Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Of course, I forgot to turn on my volume again, but that's crazy. So I'm live tonight on both YouTube and Rumble, if everything is going right. I'm not quite sure. I can't monitor them without getting some feedback. Just a quick radio check or a sound check. Let me know. Is the sound coming through okay, or is it echoing or repeating like it did last week when we started? So if you could just let me know that would be great in the chat. So I got a few things wanted to talk about tonight, and got a lot of stuff, actually. Probably too much stuff lined up for on the old stream deck here. But of course, the big news is Chrystia Freeland. Hey, good, thanks, Norm. Hey, Jennifer. So the big news tonight or this week is, of course, Jennifer, what am I talking about? Chrystia Freeland getting kicked out of the cabinet, or I guess technically she resigned from the cabinet, but she was kicked out of her position. So, of course, she was... She ended up quitting. We don't know if that was kind of a strategic move on her behalf, because it looks like a lot of people are saying that she is going to be the next leader, or that she's going to run for the next leader. Whether or not that is true or not, hard to say. But there's been a lot of stuff, I think, that has come out. Let's first go to CPAC and take a look at what she said in her letter, or at least the highlights of what she said in her resignation letter.
Well, Chrystia Freeland is refusing to go quietly into the night, resigning from her position as finance minister and deputy prime minister this morning, just hours before she was scheduled to deliver a fall economic statement. But on Friday, the prime minister told her she would be shuffled out of finance, and rather than just tendering her resignation to the prime minister, she chose to share it on social media, saying in part the following: "To be effective, a minister must speak on behalf of the prime minister and with his full confidence. In making your decision, you made it clear that I no longer credibly enjoy that confidence and possess the authority that comes with it. For the past number of weeks, you and I have found ourselves at odds about the best path forward for Canada. Our country today faces a grave challenge," she writes. "The incoming administration in the United States is pursuing a policy of economic nationalism, including a threat of 25% tariffs. We need to take that threat extremely seriously. That means keeping our fiscal powder dry today, so we have the reserves we may need for a coming tariff war. That means issuing costly political gimmicks, which we can ill afford and which makes Canadians doubt that we recognize the gravity of the moment. I know Canadians would recognize and respect such an approach. They know when we are working for them, and they equally know when we are focused on ourselves. Inevitably, our time in government will come to an end. But how we deal with the threat our country currently faces will define us for a generation and perhaps longer." Again, major parts of the resignation letter.
I kind of find it hard to take her seriously when, of course, she's been right there beside Trudeau all along and doing his bidding and running Canada into the ground. But she knew the jig was up. So I think that's probably why she decided to sign the petition. sent her resignation letter in. I've got a bit of a cold tonight, so I did take a bit of Dayquil before coming on tonight. So if I'm a little bit goofy, that's probably why. So she knew she was on her way out, of course, because he told her, which was the stupidest thing that he could have done. Of course, well, it's him, right? It's Trudeau. So, of course, we don't expect anything better from him. He's going to do stupid things. But, I mean, think about this. On Friday, you do a Zoom call with your most, closest advisor and closest confidant, and you say, hey, on Monday, we want you to present our fall economic statement, and then we're going to shuffle you out to another ministry or another portfolio that doesn't have any people in it, and no staff and no budget. It's dealing with Donald Trump, the guy who hates your guts, and you're not going to get anywhere with that. So here, do this, and then we're going to throw you under the bus. And of course, she turned it around and threw him under the bus, which I thought was, I don't know, it's one good thing that she did. Not that there's very many good things that she's done. It's like what Trump says here. Trump said this. Basically, nope. Yeah, so the great state of Canada is stunned as the finance minister resigns, or was fired, from her position by Governor Justin Trudeau. Her behavior was totally toxic and not at all conducive to making deals which are good for the very unhappy citizens of Canada. She will not be missed. I actually think he nailed it. She's not going to be missed, at least not by most people. And I think there's a lot of liberals apparently who still like her, and they gave her a standing ovation in the caucus meeting that happened. I think it was the day after. Was it the 17th, or was it wasn't the 16th? I think the caucus meeting happened on the 17th. So of course they gave her a standing ovation. And Mark Carney, apparently, what it's believed anyway, I don't know if it's true, but it's believed that he was going to be the finance minister, because you don't have to be an actual member of parliament to be the minister. They have precedence on that. Harper did it. But after everything blew up, he said, no way, I'm not getting involved in this. And they brought in, of course, Dominic LeBlanc. So, and then, of course, afterwards, Trudeau goes and does this gives this really super cringy address at the Christmas party.
Hello, everyone! Y a-t-il des libéraux dans la salle? Ah, bonsoir tout le monde. Merci. Merci, mes amis. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here tonight. It has been an eventful couple of days. It hasn't been easy, and that's why I'm so happy to see you guys. It's hard not to feel happy when we're like this, among liberals, among family, because that's what we really are, a big family. Now, like most families, sometimes we have fights around the holidays. But of course, like most families, we find our way through it. I love this country. I deeply love this party. I love you guys. And love is what families are all about. Ça fait du bien de vous voir.
I couldn't help myself there. I had to put down the that little caption there. Of course, he loves himself more than anything. I just have to put my phone on silent here. I don't know why I forgot to do that. That is, okay, here it goes. That's on silent now. I don't know why I forgot to do that. I normally always do that before I start my live stream. Yeah, that is so cringe. I always want to cut in. I don't think I have actually a clip of that, but every time I see him talking like that, I want to cut in that clip of him training for his boxing match, and his trainer just, nails him in the face several times. I just think that's hilarious when they do that. So yeah, he is just so cringy. It looked like he was on drugs there as well. He was hyped up. Had probably had been talking to Nose Candy Randy before he gave that speech or that address. I think could be. So yeah, that's the big news this week. And of course, she did that on the day that she was supposed to deliver Mark Carney's fiscal update, the fall financial statement, the FES as they call it, which I think it was brilliant of her to wait until the exact last moment and just dump it on them, because then they were lost. They went through three other finance probably they called up three other people to be the finance minister prior to Dominic LeBlanc, because originally it went straight to Champagne, who I can't stand listening to him. He is just such an annoying voice. And then after that, it went to, of course, Nose Candy Randy. And then after Nose Candy Randy, they decided to ask Dominic LeBlanc, who got sworn in, but he didn't actually give or present the. Sorry about that. He didn't actually present the FES in Parliament. He ended up, what's her face, Gould. She dumped it and ran. Take a look at this. This is so crazy.
I see that the Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons is rising on her feet.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 32, I have the honour to table in both official languages the Fall Economic Statement 2024.
Now, that is so crazy. She was supposed to stand up and make, or whoever presented it, Chrystia Freeland, was supposed to stand up and make a statement. So I don't know how long, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, make a statement. And then they were supposed to go to questions and debate and before they voted on it or whatever. And of course, they didn't vote on it. There was no confidence vote on it, because it would have been a confidence matter had they called a vote on it. I don't know how they get away with not voting on it, but maybe it's because they just tabled it and ran, and now it has to wait until they come back, which I think that they're not going to come back. I think they're probably going to prorogue Parliament, and then during that time, they're going to call or have a leadership convention. That's my guess, and that's the guess of Tom Mulcair. I know I always pronounce his name wrong, but then we go on to what Andrew Scheer had to say, because she dumped it and ran, kind of like a body dump, tapping your brakes, opening the door, chucking the corpse of our economy out onto the street, and then tromping on the gas, like booting it out of there. But this is what Andrew Scheer had to say afterwards.
The opposition House Leader is on his feet.
Mr. Speaker, and I just want to remind you that the order that the House adopted was very, very specific. And notwithstanding any standing order, special order, usual practice of the House, at 4 p.m. on Monday, December 16th, the Speaker shall interrupt the proceedings to permit the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, to make a statement followed by a period of up to 10 minutes for questions and comments. After the statement, a member from each recognized opposition party, a member of the Green Party, may reply for a period approximately equal to the time taken by the minister's statement. So a minister of the Crown just came in, and made a statement. Her statement was that she was tabling the fall economic update. That is the statement. At the very least, Mr. Speaker, there should now be a 10-minute period of questions and comments. She chose to have a very short statement. Nothing we can do about that. She came in, tabled, and then ran out before there could be any accountability or scrutiny. I believe the most logical thing for the chair to do is to accept that as the statement that it was, which I would say is a perfect statement on the state of the Liberal government right now, and at the very least allow opposition parties and opposition members to ask questions of the government as to what was in that statement, as to what was in the fall economic update. Yes.
So, that button didn't work. Andrew, I really like Andrew. I don't know. I realize he lost an election and all, and they drummed him out, but I really like him. I think that he almost sounds like a lawyer. Is he a lawyer? Did he go to law school? But he's such a nice guy as well, or seems like a nice guy. Probably Pierre Poilievre is superior to him as far as getting under Justin's skin, and also will be the next prime minister. But I really liked Andrew there. But the next guy up to speak actually brought up a very, very important point, which I think is worthwhile sharing with y'all.
The honourable member from Okanagan, Similkameen Nicola, is up on his feet.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, there's $61.9 billion of extra spending in here. And the fact is, I came prepared at my seat at the time. You went through in great detail exactly the process for the fall economic statement. And the government has reneged. A drop-off drive-by of a tabling where the minister spun around and walked right out. That is contemptuous of the agreed-to motion that we would all be here today to undertake a democratic scrutiny of the government. The government cannot pick and choose its role. It is subservient to this House. I would ask you find them in contempt, Mr. Speaker, because obviously the government is not prepared to allow any other process. This was something, Mr. Speaker, that makes not only myself and this whole House look bad, it looks terribly upon you. I would ask that you would defend our rights as parliamentarians and force the government through a mechanism, perhaps a contempt motion, that they have been found in contempt in their duties to this House.
No.
Did that video not play? Marilyn Haley said, show us a video. Did that video not play? I thought I was playing a video. I was, where's subject for me? Yeah, so that guy, that gentleman there, stood up and called it contempt of Parliament, which I think it was. They were supposed to, they had negotiated with all of the parties, and they were supposed to, follow a certain format. So at 4 o'clock, the speaker did get up and interrupted Parliament and made a statement. And then, of course, they didn't present the fall economic statement. They had a whole bunch of people stand up on points of order after that, complaining about it. And then she, at 11 minutes after, or 10 minutes after, she, or Gould, came in and just dumped it and ran. Was too much of a coward to answer questions on it. She probably, in all fairness, though, not being the finance minister, she probably hadn't read the document and wasn't prepared to answer questions on it. It's just that, they should have had somebody, a backup, prepared to go in case, because you know what? People get sick. Like on the last day, on Tuesday, you could hear that the speaker was sick, but he kind of muscled through it. So obviously, that was the big news for the week. And then we had a lot of comments, of course. One from, of course, Mulcair. I think he's far better as a pundit than he was as a leader of the Liberal Party. Although, as a pundit, he's not. I don't think that he's the greatest. But he had this to say on the whole topic, and also on Carney.
And joining me now is Tom Mulcair, our CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader. Tom, thanks as always for joining us, especially
good to be with you, Roger.
With the week that it's been for Trudeau and the Liberals. It's been a rough one. Your thoughts as we kind of start to wrap up the week, but we still may be looking at a cabinet shuffle.
Yes, I think that that's inevitable. There are some doubling ups that have occurred that just are impossible to manage. But I'd say it's also been, Roger, a rough week for Canadians because they're wondering, who's in charge? Where's the government? You have good ministers like Anita Anand who were just pitched, when Pablo Rodriguez decided that he was no longer going to be a minister, she was just given transport, as if transport was just sort of an afterthought in the second largest country in the world. And so we've got any number of those things. Oh, you take defense on top of your other budget. Right. So nothing's working right now. And I found it bizarre, frankly, that it was Dominic LeBlanc who was announcing that Mark Carney was no longer part of the equation. But I think that Mr. Carney will have a lot to say about the future of the party. He certainly was wise to step back from the train wreck that Justin Trudeau wrought on his whole political formation on Monday. And the debacle around Chrystia Freeland is something he's going to wear for a long time on many different levels. He boasted as of last week what a great feminist he was. And if you go through the Jody Wilson-Raybould's and the Jane Philpotts and now Chrystia Freeland's, he has obvious difficulty dealing with powerful women. And she was his most loyal, political companion. She was there for everything for him, totally loyal through thick and thin. And he contrived, and he told her on Friday that he was going to dump her from cabinet, or at least he was going to dump her from finance, the day after she would deliver her fall economic statement, and that he was going to make her the Minister of U.S.-Canada Relations, which is a ministry without a department, with no budget, with no staff. And so she saw right through it. She knew she was being dumped, and it probably because she had gone, or some of the people around her had gone public with grave reservations about Trudeau's most recent gimmick, his stunt involving an 8-week break for the GST and handing out checks to people who earn $150,000 a year. So she was right to pull back from that, and maybe she's actually given herself a little bit of space should she decide one day to run for the Liberal leadership. But with regard to Carney and Dominic LeBlanc just sort of blankly stating that, Carney had come on board as one of Trudeau's key advisors. You can be sure that he wanted nothing to do with this absolute mess, and he was very wise to step back from it. Carney is so close to Freeland, he's actually the godfather of one of her kids. So you can be sure that once he saw this mess, he just sort of, I'm not going to touch this. And so the Liberals lost their best chance to have somebody with incredible stature and credibility in Mark Carney to at least come into the breach. And now, who knows? It's going to be, a cast of minor characters probably fighting it out to replace Trudeau. Because I don't think, Roger, to cut to the chase, I don't think that Trudeau can stick around. I don't think that's plausible.
No, and
So Tom Mulcair, of course, he's been around for a long time, as he points out, and probably has a lot of knowledge of the situation. But some of the things he comes up with, like he really admires Chrystia Freeland and he admires Mark Carney. So I can't say that I agree with a lot of the stuff he says. He's kind of, he's in the bubble, right? The Ottawa bubble. And I think that they kind of think a different way than most of us do, or at least us out west here. I don't know about anywhere else in Canada, because I used to think that as a kid too. Like when Pierre Trudeau Sr. was in government, I kept on thinking, how is it possible that he keeps on getting elected when I think at the time there were no Liberal seats east of the Ontario-Manitoba border, west of the Ontario-Manitoba border. And then I used to think, wow, maybe they just get different news out there. And of course, back then you didn't have social media, so it wasn't quite the same. So I question kind of sometimes what he thinks about, the quality of the people being, of course, Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney. Of course, Mark, he does have a lot of, credits to his name, being the former governor of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England. But it doesn't mean he's, he'd be good in our government, but that's just kind of what I think. But there was one thing that Tom Mulcair said that was very interesting, because he referred to one of the finance ministers that Trudeau dumped prior to Freeland.
But when you look at it objectively and based on experience, I can tell you, I've been in government for a whole long time. I've never seen anything run quite this badly. But I think the answer was in Bill Morneau's book. He said that everything turned around Trudeau, everything centered on him, whether it was the Prime Minister's office or the whole Privy Council office. In other words, Roger, we didn't have Mr. Trudeau running a government for Canadians. He wanted the Canadian government run for Justin Trudeau to make sure of his advancement. Okay. And that's the final scene on the stage. I think that's what Canadians finally saw.
All right. On that note,
So isn't that interesting? Sorry about that. I hope I got the mute button pushed. And I didn't cough into the microphone. It's interesting, though, that he said it was Bill Morneau's book that said, Trudeau is out for himself. So his old finance minister, the first one he fired, is basically throwing Trudeau under the bus, saying that he is only out for himself, he's not governing for Canada. It's not a government of the people. It's a government for Trudeau, or his government is just for Trudeau, to advance Trudeau's basic aims, which I think probably says it all. And then, of course, we get Trump kind of chiming in there about this. No one can answer why we subsidize Canada to the tune of over, he says 100 million. I think he meant 100 billion a year. Makes no sense. Many Canadians want Canada to become the 51st state. They would save massively on taxes and military protection. I think it is a great idea. 51st state. Now, I didn't get a chance to load up another video that I saw. Normally, I actually kind of like Vasi Capella's, although she does go a little bit. She does say some, I think, ridiculous things sometime. She was interviewing the border czar, and she's asking all these questions. And then she gets on to the 51st state, and she says, yeah, it was a joke, blah, blah, blah. But is he serious? Does he want to take over Canada? She says at last. No, Trump is not going to take over Canada. I think that it would be great for Canada and the U.S. to combine forces, to merge. Our economy would be great, but Trump is not going to take over Canada. It's like she's thinking that they're going to be there's going to be an invasion. There's not going to be an invasion. And only about 16 to 24%, depending on the poll you look at, actually want to join the United States. So it's not going to happen. Everybody who is worried about it, don't worry. It's not going to happen. Regardless of those who want it to, it's not going to happen. And for the news to get, the left-wing news to get all bent out of shape about it is funny, really, because he's not just trolling the government. I think most of the citizens know it's a troll and think it's funny, but the news and the government, they're just taking it way too serious. Which I think is kind of funny. He actually said a few more things this week that I thought I'd bring up, because I think we pretty much, devoured that topic. But I was going through his Truth Social. A couple of things that he brought up were actually kind of interesting. He did talk about the drones that were flying. The mystery drones sighting all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know, and now. Otherwise, shoot them down. DJT. And that actually, I think that's funny because there's actually other videos out there. When I saw a video from Alex, I can't remember her name. She's on one of these YouTuber gun channels, and she posts this video of, she says, "This is my family dealing with the drones," and then she posts some military footage of tracers going up into the air, tracer rounds. So I thought that was kind of funny. But if it's got to be, I don't know what it is, but it's they got to know what's going on by now. If they don't know what's going on by now, there's something fishy. Yeah, I mean, they've got the best surveillance system in the world, and they don't know what's going on. And there's reports, well, it's law enforcement. Well, if it was law enforcement, there wouldn't be any question. People would find out, people would know about it, the government would report it. People say, well, it's the CIA. I don't know why the CIA, well, the CIA is not allowed to work on U.S. soil, so it's not the CIA. They say all sorts of different things. But my question is how come they haven't made a definite statement as to who's operating these drones? Because there's a lot of them. So is it just kind of been caught on, kind of like one of those things where everybody jumps in and the flash dances, flash dances or flash mobs or whatever those mobs are. Is it kind of like that, where now somebody was spotted and was complained about, so everybody's out there now flying their drones, kind of trolling everybody else? Is that what it is? I think that there was all sorts of talk about it before. I don't know, the FCC or the FAC, whatever, the federal, FAC, I think it's Federal Aeronautics Commission or whatever it is. They would have to get involved if they're not flying, if they're flying low and they're not violating any airspace. There's not a lot that can be done. And I guess they have mentioned that they're not breaking any laws. But I remember when this all started, I remembered a story out of Kentucky. It was a couple of years ago. Somebody was flying a drone over a backyard, and this guy's daughter was suntanning in the backyard. So the guy knew what was happening. It was just some teenager probably, spying on his daughter. So he took his shotgun out and shot it out of the air, which I thought, you know what? FAA, sorry. Yeah, FAA. I should know that since I'm a pilot and I have flown around the U.S., but it's been a while. I haven't flown for about 30 years now. So he shot the drone out of the air, and I just thought that was hilarious. Of course, the problem was it was in a residential area. It wasn't out on a farm or anything, so he got into a little bit of trouble over that. Probably would have been in a lot more trouble if it happened in Canada, although you don't get in too much trouble for anything in Canada. He's also brought up this, which I thought was interesting. The Republican Party will use its best efforts to eliminate daylight savings time. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but I thought this was interesting, which has a small but strong constituency, but shouldn't. Daylight savings time is inconvenient and very costly to our nation. I agree with that. I like it on one side where I get an extra hour of sleep, but I really hate it on the other side, like the spring forward. I don't like that at all. I've often wondered, why are we doing this? Why are we still doing this? I thought it was crazy that we were still doing this. But I don't know, just thought I'd throw that in there because I saw it on his True Social. And, you know, it's one of those topics that come up once in a while. I'm wondering why he's so concerned about it because, you know, he obviously he doesn't have to keep normal office hours or anything, but, you know, I'd be in favor of getting rid of that. Just saying. So let's go through some of the chat here and see what everybody has to say. Looks like there's nobody. Looks like there's nobody on Rumble. Probably nobody even viewing on Rumble. But let's go through back on YouTube and see what's happening. Back. So Nelson from New Brunswick, how you doing? Political Junkie, how you doing tonight? First timer, where are you from, Political Junkie? Maybe you said later. Tracy, I think I said hello to. Jennifer, Norm. Jerry, how you doing, Jerry? Thanks for the sound check earlier on. Brad. Terry Taft. Hello, how you doing, Liz? Looks like, well, you weren't too late. We had just started. I was a couple of minutes late. I was still fiddling around getting the stream up and running. I think I came online at about 6:01 or 6:02. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Scott? Yeah, I'm going to, I saw that they had a petition, that Northern Perspective had a petition out, and I will probably go there just to sign it. I just didn't have time. I saw it. I normally take about an hour break after putting all my stuff together and then starting the, coming downstairs and starting the live stream. And so I didn't have time to go on and sign that. Harley T, how's it going? No more Mr. Speaker. What does that mean? Did he get canned? I don't know. What is that? Like, I mean, I saw him on Tuesday. You know, if something happened that I don't know about, hey, let me know. I didn't hear that anything happened to him. Bonnie C from Ottawa, how's it going? Marilyn, how's it going? There's 17,000 signed so far, so by the time we get off this live stream, it'll probably be over 20,000. Roger, how's it going? Playing musical chairs, yeah. So he's shuffling his cabinet, I guess, tomorrow, and he's 10 cabinet positions down, so about almost one third of his cabinet. I guess there's something like 36 cabinet positions, and he's 10 down. If he was 12 down, he would be exactly one third down. So there's going to be a lot of shuffles. Apparently, the guy, the MP that so his backbencher MP that has the podcast that he went on, he's given him, I think he's giving him housing because of Mark Fraser leaving, which is interesting. Maryland, imagine Freeland as PM and Carney as finance minister. Carney is Freeland's kid's godfather. Where were our taxes? Yeah, you see, both of them are communists. Like, as far, like, they just, I mean, she's better than Trudeau in one sense. Obviously, she wants a little bit of financial, accountability, but she's not great. I would never vote for her. I call her twitchy witchy. I probably shouldn't. But there you go. Yeah. Pierrette Gagnon. Know your WEF penetrators. Yeah. So, somebody mentioned, I think I saw it pop up here that they thought that Andrew Scheer was in the WEF. If he was, he probably isn't anymore, because Pierre has said that he doesn't want any of the party being WEF members. He kind of read the tea leaves, read the writing on the wall, and nobody likes them, or the majority of Canadians are very suspicious of them. So I would suggest that anybody who has been isn't anymore. But, you know, who knows? Hey, Michael, how's it going? You came back from a comment ban a couple of days ago. I wonder what that comment was. Don't put it up here because I don't want this channel to be banned, but that's interesting. They're cracking down on us. Yeah, so I haven't had a copyright notice. The last one I had was on my live stream that I did for the U.S. election, which was all BS. And but I think that actually YouTube should crack down on the CBC and Global, because what they're doing is a lot of those copyright bans that or copyright claims that they're sending out are on material that doesn't even belong to them. So Parlvu material, open source material, or they are just totally ignoring Section 29 of our copyright laws, which says that if we're using it for news purposes and commenting on it or criticizing it or whatever, then it's not it's fair use. I think we call it fair. We call it a little bit something different. I got it on my in my description of my videos. So if you want to see the sections, you can go there and then you can Google it. But yeah, so apparently Northern Exposure, what's that guy? Moose on the Loose, and Portuguese Pie. They've all had notices, and so I guess I'm thinking that a lot of people have. So I went and I checked. I didn't see any of my emails pop up that said I had one. So I went on my studio and I didn't have one. So I don't know. Maybe they just haven't gotten around to me. I've got a few less followers than they do, so that's probably why. But if you, I don't know, it could be that you have to. That's why I have the screen now down in the corner, and I put so much stuff overlays on top. So you have to modify your whatever you're showing. And then you have to put down in your description or your show notes, you have to put down the site and stuff like that. So you have to cite it properly. And then still they give you copyright notices, so you have to complain about it. Petition number E25289. So it's a parliament petition. That's good, because then it gets brought up in the parliament. Hello, Charlene. Makes me, yeah. You must have said that when I was playing Trudeau on the on his presentation to the party. Yeah, Lester. Yeah, $62 billion deficit. What a joke that is. And we're all going to be paying for that. Our grandkids are going to be paying for that. I don't have any grandkids yet. Yeah, so United Nations olive branches wrapped around the maple leaf on the podium the night before when he spoke to his donors. I think those were, Tracy, I think those are wheat. Those are wheat things. And that's apparently an old symbol, but it's also a communist symbol. They've made lots of references to the Communist Party. Yeah, hey Dirk. Akasha, how's it going? Red checks, LeBlanc. Norm again is going through. Dumpster fire. Oh, did you see? I didn't bring it up. I did have it on one of my videos, but Andrew Scheer's response to the day on Tuesday to what happened on Monday. It's a dumpster fire and something else wrapped in a cluster. I thought it was hilarious. He actually he does come up with some good ones. Hey, Annette. Okay, just going through here. So yeah, okay, so it's Kristen said that Andrew is a WEF member. So I don't know if he is, but again, if he was, he probably isn't anymore. If you can quit, I think that Pierre is making everybody quit, which would be good. If he hasn't, he should. So just clicking through here. How much money Jagmeet has made from his payoffs? He made $89 million. He was bankrupt when he started. Really? That is interesting. Of course, Maserati Marxist. The biological father of Freeland's mother died in a concentration camp. Didn't know that. Of course, her grandfather on one side of her lineage was apparently a Nazi. So that is very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so she does probably expect to bounce into the World Economic Forum. But I think that she is planning, I think we're talking about Freeland here. She's planning, I think, a run for the leadership. I think that would be even worse for the party than Trudeau is. But hey, you know what? As long as the Liberals fail, that's good for me. I mean, I don't care who their leader is, as long as they're not elected, because they tend to always screw up. They always have the most amount of, scandals and whatnot. One of the people that I follow is sure that Canada's best option is to become the 51st American state. I think that, and I realize that a lot of people don't, like that idea, but if you look at the just purely on an economical basis, it would be great for both countries. But I get it, and it's an emotional argument for a lot of people. A lot of people emotionally wouldn't want that. I know my father and some of my brothers are the same way. I think that probably both of my brothers are. So, but, whatever. It has already been planned. I wonder if that's true, Jennifer, and if you're talking about the union. But there's what I like about it is it's rights-based constitution, and that you can't make exceptions for. So that's what I like about it. So Liz, you're right. It's close to being a criminal syndicate, and even the Toronto Police Association are very vocal about all of Trudeau's failures. So that's nice to see. And they're allowed to be because they're not the actual police. They're the police association. They represent the members. They're allowed to do that. So I like that. Yeah. I've seen Ford freak out about Trump. Yeah, Ford is kind of freaking out about Trump. They're, this whole tariff thing, it's serious, but it's also a negotiation ploy. It's part of the way Trump negotiates. he will front load a whole bunch of threats, and then he will, he'll move on it. And I just saw actually, I think I was referring to this earlier, that Vasi Kapelis was interviewing the border czar down in the States just before I went live here. And he's saying that it's looking good for Canada, not so much for Mexico, but he's got a lot of positive feedback from the Canadian side. But for right now, it's not, they don't have specifics. It's all kind of talk right now. So nothing has, been, settled, I guess, or in stone. So Jennifer, looks like, we were talking about drones at this time, and a man in Florida shot down one over his house and got arrested. If it's a residential area, yeah, you would, because that's reckless endangerment. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to shoot down a drone. If it was in a rural area, if he lived on a farm, then I think he could get away with that. But I don't know. Holograms. I don't know if they're holograms, holograms I don't think are that advanced just yet. Ooh, look here. Did something happen? Something just happened. Is everything working okay? Everything just loaded up, on my, Stream Ninja. I don't know why. Probably because I'm at the bottom of my, there it goes again. I don't know what just happened here. I'm still live, right? Okay. Anyway. All right. So if there's anything else you guys want to chat about, we could do that. But I think I'm about done. I still have this cold, so no whiskey in the house. I can't take some medicinal whiskey tonight, so I'll probably just chill out, have some soft apple cider, and watch a bit of Gunsmoke or something. I don't know if I have, maybe I got a football game or something like that, PVR'd, so I'll watch a little bit of that. But anyway, I'll just send out a last message here, and everybody, thanks for tuning in.
You've been watching the North West Cavalryman show. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share with your friends and on social media. May God bless you. And if you're a liberal crybaby, bless your heart. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Thursday.